English was my worst category, my worst class in school. And you're probably asking yourself, like, why does this random sort of fact about yourself mean anything? If I recall correctly, back in the day, if there was a historical person like Jesus or Socrates or something, so if you were to say, like, Jesus's backpack or Socrates' illegitimate love child, so if I was to say that's Jesus's sandal or something, it would actually be spelled J-E-S-U-S and then apostrophe. There's no extra S on the end. So if Daedris, though I don't know the historical significance or the lore behind Destiny, if Daedris is somebody of importance from back in the day or an ancient or something like that, then technically this gun is named incorrectly. I may be wrong. Like I said, I was never good at English, but I think I remembered, you know, an exclusion or two for some of those situations. But hey, maybe one of you guys can clarify. So yeah, it's a little bit of food for thought, something for you guys to think a little bit about, a fact about the gun potentially. So what is worth mentioning is the DEIDRIS'S RETORT shotgun is the Iron Banner shotgun. This gun is absolutely incredible. I've actually fallen in love with it. It's my new favorite shotgun. And it shares the class with only a couple other shotguns in year 2, and neither of those are actually really popular, so the closest thing I can compare this to is a modern-day Party Crasher, or if you guys recall from year 1, the Found Verdict. So, the DEIDRIS'S RETORT has a rate of fire of 14, an impact of 61, a range of 17, stability of 36, and a reload speed of 23, and can obviously roll either of the elemental burns. Translation! The rate of fire is 53 rounds per minute, 106 if you're rocking out the full auto. Reload speed of 0.6 to 0.72 depending on full or empty, which is not bad per shell. Aim assist right in the middle at 40 and a mag of 6. At the end of the day, again, a lot of these numbers are kind of like, what? There's only so far you can go in depth with a shotgun because shotguns do, well, shotgun things. So I'm going to have to go a lot on my feelings about this gun and talking about my experiences to kind of give it an actual real feel and review. So, what's worth mentioning is this gun has 12 pellets, as do the other shotguns in the game. It hits for around 21, 22, depending if you're rocking, obviously, like Field Choke or Aggressive Ballistics or whatever the situation is. This thing does have its reliabilities. What I can truly compare this gun to is probably Conspiracy Theory D, everyone's favorite crutch. Now, this gun is obviously the go-to shotgun in the game right now. Everybody tends to use it. It had great rolls, and it was given to you at 300 Light by Bungie themselves. And a lot of people have grown attached to it. Now, the catch is, this gun can be just as lethal on your average player. So if you're talking about Guardians, I prefer this weapon over that one, simply because it's capable of shooting quicker, but still being about just as reliable as taking them down in the one-shot kill capabilities. The only real difference that I've noticed between this gun and the Conspiracy D is when it comes down to certain supers. I have never, I repeat, never taken down a full health arc blade with a shot melee combo. That is something you can consistently do if you got well-timed situations and reaction time. You can do that with the Conspiracy Theory D. The Conspiracy Theory D hits for an extra 2 damage per projectile, seeing as how there's 12 of them. You do the math out, and that does lead to be some pretty significant damage output. So it makes sense for where many circumstances that I will actually shoot and melee an arc blade or another super, and they'll survive with just a smidge of health. But if that would have been the Conspiracy, they would have been shut down. So when you're dealing with your Sunsingers and your Arc Blades and your Supers, then yes, something like the Conspiracy is probably a better option, but it also has a significantly slower rate of fire. Many of you guys have actually popped a shot into a guy, realized he barely survived, and he manages to kill you before you can get a second shot off. You're not going to have that problem with this weapon at all. The rate of fire is obviously more forgiving. You're going to be able to get follow-up shots without being punished in the process, so that gives it some significant value. Another thing worth mentioning is obviously when you're dealing with massive groups of people, the Conspiracy is kind of rough. You can shoot a guy, and then maybe the other guy takes you down before you can finish him off. So this gun is pretty much the gun you want to use when you want to start taking on massive amounts of people. If you've got a big appetite, you love flanking, getting behind enemy lines, and just completely taking down 3 or 4 people at a time, this gun is far more reliable than the Conspiracy can ever be, simply due to its rate of fire. Now, what I want to mention is the gun in here does not have the identical Conspiracy rolls. I do have rifled barrel, I believe, but I do not have rangefinder. So the situation that you may see a couple times in this game where they barely survive with a little bit of health, had I had rangefinder on it, it would have been an entirely different experience there. The damage would have held on better. But of course, RNG did not bless me, so I'm sitting here with just one of the 2 good range perks that I would ideally look for. Speaking of which, what are the rolls you're going to want for a god tier DEIDRIS'S RETORT? Now, what you're going to look for when rolling this thing is you want to build range. Of course, sacrifice stability if you can, so you're going to want reinforced in the middle. Rifled is the only other alternative, but you sacrifice reload speed, which is not really the one you want to go to. Stability means nothing on a gun like this, which rate of fire is extremely maintainable, and relocating to the screen right in the middle, no problem at all. So reinforced is the best one in the middle, and there's really no other ranged one besides rifled. So you have to have one of those too. Simply put, it's a pretty picky build. In the first perk, you're going to want Rangefinder. Rangefinder is so good for the one-shot kill capabilities. It's going to increase the times that you do kill in just one trigger pull, and that means a lot. Full auto is not bad either. You can be really aggressive with it, and if you get something like Reinforced in the middle, it's just as lethal as the one that you're seeing displayed in this gameplay, but you'd have double the rate of fire, meaning cleanups and everything like that are going to be just that much more reliable. Last but not least, that final bubble doesn't have a lot of really good perks in it. I'd say performance bonus is the only one that's really worth a damn. A couple of the others aren't going to be half bad. Final round's not going to be something that you use quite frequently, not unless you're going with a full auto build, but that's truly what it comes down to. So I truly love the weapon. It's honestly my shotgun of choice now. So yeah, it may not have the punching power that the Conspiracy has with taking down supers, but if we're talking about just using it throughout the entire duration of a match, I'm going to find that this thing is going to help me in far more situations than just the occasional potential save against an Arc Blade or a Sunsinger or something. So as much as I love the Conspiracy and it has its place, this gun just seems to be more reliable all across the board. So that's how I feel. Thanks for watching, guys. You enjoyed the gameplay. Feel free to subscribe. Support the channel by leaving a like on it. And if you want to check out any other gun reviews, there are 2 of them recommended on your screen, or even check the playlist down below if you're looking for a specific one that I may have already done. You take care, guys.